Oh yeah. Oh, it seems like a terrible idea. Oh, those fans are really heating up now. Oh my word. Oh my word, I've got it in. It seems that everybody has the same question. This is an RTX 3080. This is a very small ITX H1 chassis with a 650 watt power supply. Can you put this in there? But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Acer and the Predator Triton 500. This mesmerizing gaming laptop packs a truly bonkers 300Hz IPS display. Pair it up with the hyper-fast RTX 20 Super graphics, blazing quick Intel 10th generation processors, and PCIe NVMe storage. Purchase a Predator Triton 500 from participating retailers and receive £50 of Steam credit, a Predator backpack, and a 3-year warranty, all worth over £200. Check it out today with that link down below. If you haven't been keeping up with the latest graphics card news, then where have you been? But obviously we have had a new launch. This is the RTX 3080, this is the Founders Edition, and this requires, as at least it says on the box, a minimum of a 750 watt power supply. But that's not all. These actually recommend 850 watts of power. What's going on? Well, it's just more efficient architecture that can actually make use of more power to get more frames per second. And obviously this in itself is fantastic, but what happens if you already have something like this, the NZXT H1, that rocks a smaller 650 watt power supply? Do you need to upgrade your entire rig? Do you need to get a new power supply? Do you need to get a different graphics card? Or can you just risk it and see if it will work? And the thing that made this really cool is not only its size, but that it comes with a all-in-one liquid cooler and a power supply actually baked into the unit. So all you need to do really is just buy yourself some motherboard, RAM, graphics card, processor, storage, and then just bung it in here. It's really easy to build in, but obviously if it comes with a power supply, you're not going to want to buy one just to swap it out. That would be ridiculous. You can see here we have a 2080 Super, and the first step really to actually seeing if this will work is to take this out and see if the new one will physically fit in, because if you get yourself a larger card that isn't the Founders Edition, I would wager it won't. So here we are then, RTX 2080 Super. Lift the card out like so, and you can see, physically speaking, this card, I don't have enough hands for this. That was way too risky. I should not have done that. This card is actually a fair bit longer, but I think we'll be all right. I'm fairly confident on this. Oh yeah. Oh, no problem whatsoever. Here we go then. Very, very easy upgrade, as you can see. Graphics card inside RH1. Looking pretty smart. Now, you are no doubt thinking at this stage, what on earth is he doing? That Founders Edition card is going to blow air straight into the motherboard, and it's just not going to cool properly. And the answer to that would be yes, that's exactly what's going to happen. How bad is it going to be? We will find out. It seems like a terrible idea, but that's why I'm doing it, not you. To be fair though, with ITX there is usually some sort of compromise, and it is normally in the whole sort of airflow department. And as half of the card is exhausting straight out of the back of the GPU, I don't think this is going to be as much of a disaster as it could be. Again, not expecting this to go perfectly well, but I think it should go well enough. How annoying is this, by the way? Have you had this yet? Where it tries to get you to switch to Edge, and then you try and close it down, and it just doesn't do anything. Microsoft at their finest. Well done, guys. It's really nice of you. Just get out. I don't care. I don't want to shut down either. I just want to close Edge. It should not be this difficult. Right, drivers installed. Good news, it's not blown up just yet, but we need to actually load this baby up and see if it crashes, see if it overheats, see if it bursts into flames in front of me. I've seen crazy things happen, it wouldn't be the first time. And the tools we're going to be using are GPU-Z to actually monitor all of the clock speeds, and we're also using Nvidia FrameView as well, because this is what gives you all of that lovely information at the top. I know you guys are always asking about this. With VSync off, we're currently getting around about 90 frames a second, so we are getting that RTX 3080 performance. Things are definitely heating up though. We can hear the fans come on. This is no longer a really quiet card. It's still fine at the moment. How are we doing for thermals? Ah, yes, that is what I expected. That is some noise now coming from this. I mean, it's keeping me nice and warm. But we didn't crash, hooray! Hooray! This is excellent news. What do we get there? 85 frames a second at 4K. Ultra settings. Not too bad. Let's delve a little bit deeper though into things like clock speeds. Here we have our GPU temperature, our clocks, and we are actually getting the same clock speeds that I was seeing in the full size system. I am surprised by that actually. Temperature's 80 degrees, so if we are going to get some throttling, I expect to see that now, to be honest with you. Things are definitely hotting up a lot now. 85 degrees. Looks like we've stabilized a little bit. This is quite a hot room, but I mean, if you live in, I don't know, Southern America or something, it's probably quite reflective of day to day, to be honest. And our clock speeds are definitely reduced. We're getting between 1800 and 1900 now, leaning towards the lower end. And we're not getting stutter, so to speak, but you can notice you're getting a few frame rate drops. The actual fan speed tells the story very well though, because you can see there that we're getting 64% on the first fan, because that's the one that is unrestricted, but then 69% on the second one as it's trying to blow air essentially into nowhere. There is a little bit of a gap on that motherboard tray, but not really. To me though, it definitely does look like the card is not drawing as much power as it could do. We're currently, what's that, 216 watts? Whereas I was testing the tough card earlier and we were getting well over 300. So again, does tell the story. These cards are pretty intelligent. If you put it in a small chassis and it doesn't get the airflow, it won't cook itself, but it will reduce performance. It's honestly sounding like a jet is taken off now. That is just horrible. It is highly safe to say at this stage that I really do not recommend putting a 3080 Founders Edition inside this case. I will be testing this again with a 3070, but there was just way too much heat. Everything was heating up, it was getting way too loud, we were losing way too much of the power draw, and just taking it apart like this, we're now feeding around about an extra 50 watts or so into the GPU, and it doesn't really make sense to spend a load of money on a graphics card that is going to be underclocking itself and using a lower power draw and thus getting lower frames a second. I more wanted to test whether that 650 watt power supply is going to be an issue, because I'm sure there will be 3080s that will go in this chassis, will be able to breathe properly, and then you're going to be asking yourself whether that 650 watt power supply will be enough. But the real test is going to be to run the CPU at the same time. So here we have Cinebench doing its thing. We're even recording with Shadow Play as well, so using an insane amount of power. But yeah, no crashes. No crashes yet. And to make sure we're getting the best cooling possible, I've grabbed a 200mm fan and I'm just going to blow this at the GPU just to give it a little helping hand. Fully stressing the CPU. Fully stressing that CPU. We do have the case in its open position because we're testing power here, not real world scenario. We're now even recording with GeForce Experience as well and Shadow Play, so this is about as fully loaded as you could possibly go. And we're not seeing any crashes, any artifacting, nothing that would concern me. Ow! Fudge, that's hot. Just in case you were wondering, by the way, this is the tough edition of the card, and I probably don't need to demonstrate this, but just in case you're interested, this does not fit in this chassis. It is quite close. Like, oh my word. Oh my word, I've got it in. I've got it in. I honestly thought that wasn't going to work. The tough fits in. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. After all that, it was my USB receiver that was blocking it, not the graphics card. If you take the dust filter out, it looks like it fits. We've got the tough in. All of our fans are officially on and spinning. The funny thing about this video, after all that, I could have started with this card if I thought it was going to fit in. I just honestly did not expect that. I thought it was too long and too wide. Oh yeah, 1980. And there you go, we're drawing 340 watts more or less. But again, so far so good, no crashes that I can see. Moment of truth then, here is Cinebench running. Here is Control running with everything turned up, just under 4K resolution now. And when you get a power supply crash, the game just tends to completely close down. It's like a 3D rendering error where the graphics card just basically gives up. or the whole thing shuts down. Those are the two things I've personally seen from not having enough power, and I have seen it. I have lived with a system that had this problem, and the solution was to feed it less power with something like EVGA Precision X or something. But here you go, we're still getting 75, 76 frames a second at just under 4K resolution here. GPU is clocked at 1965 megahertz. Not that this is completely stable. I mean, if you're building a rig like this, they're recommending 850, and thus I'm going to recommend 850. Always take the manufacturer's recommendation seriously. However, I think this does show you that you can maybe take that with a pinch of salt if you already have an existing product and maybe you want to give it a go. I'm not recommending that because you may well find that you run into crashes. Your system is almost certainly going to be different to mine. If you're interested in checking any of this stuff out, by the way, I'll leave my Amazon affiliate links down below. And of course, while you're down there, don't forget to check out the awesome Triton 500. Asus gaming laptop refreshes at a mind-boggling 300 Hz. 5 times faster than your average screen for smoothness that you simply have to feel to believe. Crush all of the latest titles with the RTX 2080 Super, 32GB of RAM, and 10th generation Intel processors. And even overclock it on the fly with one-punch overclocking. Learn more about this incredible gaming laptop today with that link down below. Thank you so much for checking out this video though. Please smash that like button if you've enjoyed it. As I say, get subscribed. See my full build of the H1 linked in the end screen, as well as my 3080 builds if you want to see those. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.